So, one thing I didn't mention, that extra, the 100 points there, that gives Green's Titan up to a 7-4 strength. That's going to make him a little harder to kill. It takes a lot of points to really get up there, though. And there isn't going to be a big wash of points coming. You might get 100 off a battle easily, but maybe even 200 if it's a huge battle late in the game. But you're not going to get the points off of wiping a player off the way that this was. Red is picking up a Cyclops here, but otherwise they don't have a lot of moves. They're launching an attack here. They know this isn't the Titan. They wish they could hit the Titan. This is a little dangerous because Green could position pieces behind it and chase it. That's always what you're worried about because this is Red's Titan. I'm hitting a decent stack here. And we have some terrain for the first time in the game. For the first time in the game, we have actual terrain on the board. And I gotta find that. Where it matters what the direction that we're facing is. So, I came in from this side, which is going to be here, with the attacker. And he's got his Titan. Green could flee and give half points. He's got 1836, 48 points there to begin with. Half that is only 24. But it's worth something to weaken this stack. This is not that impressive, to tell you the truth. So, we'll be coming in down here. These trees, you can fly through them. The gargoyle is the only flying thing. And an angel if one comes. And you can not land in them. They block range strikes. Not from the Warlock. He can shoot through them. He can also range strike through pieces. Pieces block line of sight as well. I didn't mention that. Anyway, the defender, if he gets to phase 4, could get another Warbear. I'm not counting on that, but we'll see. He'll try to slow things down. Again, I'm not going to play this out in front of the camera unless it starts getting really interesting. Start off with a little bit of really interesting right away. This is the setup defender took. I didn't put much thought into it, but it was a very clever setup. If I put the Warlock here, 1, 2, 3, 4, remember you count the hex, I could do some range striking against either of these. However, that allows the Warbears to reach the Warlock. There's no really safe place I could get without both the Warbears being able to kill my Warlock. I could go here, and then only one of them? They can all get there. So yeah, if I'm going to range strike, I'm going to be putting my Warlock at risk. Let's see if I can figure out some way of attacking that's good. So I decided to launch an attack with my Centaurs on the Gargoyle, who's the least important piece that the defender has. And protect my Warlock. My Warlock's going to get to range strike 1, 2, 3, 4, even a Warbear if he wishes to. I'm going to shoot that Gargoyle with my first shots from the Centaurs because I have no choice in those. Those are the engaged units. The Warlock can shoot at any of the units, so he's less interesting in a lot of ways, or he's more flexible. Alrighty. Looks like I killed me that Gargoyle pretty easily. So I got 2 dice for the Warlock. He's not rounded up. Again, my old buddy used to like to round up the Warlock. And he's got enough advantages here. I'm going to plink this guy. It doesn't really matter which one, I don't think. There's a lot of flexibility towards moving with those Warbears. I get a single hit. And now the Gargoyle is going to get to roll 4 dice back. I'll shoot this Centaur. He looks the more vulnerable. And I get 2 hits against him because I need 5s. And that now puts it on the defender's second turn. It's going to be hard to last throughout. The attacker on his second turn can call his angel, which should make this an easy mop-up. And that'll strengthen this stack so that it no longer has to really worry about these guys. It'll be a pretty potent stack, even on defense. Not that it can be attacked right away. Much catching a blow by blow here, but the two war bears are going up against the lion. Sliding them up there allows me to kill the best unit. They can muster with the centaurs. The attacker can muster, but not during the battle, only after the battle. And 3 centaurs is a much weaker mustering stack than, say, a lion and a centaur is. When I'm getting flush down here. There's no woods down there, so the lion is the thing to kill in my opinion. What I did, I'm being a little bit cautious with the attacker though. I brought in the angel, but he's not jumping into here where he might get killed. He's a valuable piece. I don't want to lose him that way. I also want to make sure my Titan's protected and the damaged centaur, because they heal after any given full combat. I threw the other centaur in. He's probably expendable. And I'm going to range strike maybe this warbear to try to kill it. And indeed that's what happened. I managed to kill the one damaged warbear. The other one traded shots, and well, the centaur got kind of lucky there. He's not too badly hurt. Now, the warbear can't leave because he didn't kill the centaur, so he's stuck fighting that centaur another round. He'll probably finish it off. He got very unlucky only getting one hit. But that means now I can throw the angel and maybe the Titan into play. Although the Titan's really a risk. Yeah, it's only 5s and 6s, but I lose the game if the Titan dies. So even though losing the angel is a painful thing, I'm almost assured killing it with 6 dice from the angel and 2 from the range strike. There's no range strike during the other person's attack, so this is just a fight between the centaur and the warbear. And the attacker has to win here or another warbear comes in. That's actually almost a reason to throw that Titan into play. I've got 8 dice. Chances are very good that I'm going to get 3 hits with 8 dice. I think I'll go with that risk, but I'm not sure which odds are more risky. 8 dice, going for 3s, which means I'm going to average 5 or 6 hits. But if I put the Titan up there, it would require 6 hits going on 6s. Now granted, even if another warbear comes in and locks combat with the Titan, that doesn't mean that it's over. The Titan still has the advantage in that fight and probably won't die. You know what? Of course, the worst of all worlds could be if the Titan's here and this somehow survives. But I'm going to take the odds on the Titan going against that damaged warbear. Because if that thing survives, it's 2 rounds of fighting with a warbear. Almost guaranteed. The Titan's not going to wipe it out. We'll see if the warbear gets really, really lucky on the Titan. It doesn't. It only got 1 hit on its swing, and it is wiped out. And what that means, a couple of things here. First of all, point-wise, 18, 36. I must have miscounted, huh? No, I misappropriated pieces. Okay. 36, 48 points for red. Not enough to get another angel, which is why saving the angel was important. And I'm in the woods. I'll be able to muster another centaur. So my stack got weakened a little bit, but not terribly. Let's get us a centaur here. And you can see stack size is getting pretty low on centaurs, for example. So these low-ender stacks in a 6-player game, after some of the people get wiped out, there isn't a lot of those lower-level critters left. So the ability to kind of muster at that end. Now, again, I may be missing a few pieces, but probably not many. I think I've done pretty well at keeping things in the bags. Poor box just died. But I can't be absolutely certain. And that means we'll get the Cyclops, the Centaur, And it'll be green's turn to try to recover after I bagged. Green failed to muster anything at all. This is kind of a problem for them. They also didn't have good locations to move into. Generally, if you're in a place where you can muster, you're in good terrain for you. So those kind of work together for the most part. Running this bigger stack away to help protect this. This is my Titan, and it's hard to tell. I could have moved him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out to here, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These didn't help. He's sitting there with Rangers and Trolls. And, well, where he is fairly safe. The other people hanging around down around here were in more danger. Not really from this stack, because it would have to get a 1 to come out of there again, and I'd have time to react. So I actually am pretty far away from Red's units, which is helpful. Nobody's got Titan teleportation or anything like that to help them. Alright, Red may consider splitting stacks simply because they want to get into the unit production set, especially if they're far away from the green stacks. Green really wants to split their stacks too, because they got so many stacks, and that's their big advantage at this point. But they weren't able to muster even one piece, so I don't know how much it would help. Level of mustering in both cases. Red getting only a Cyclops down here. These stacks are becoming... And green getting another troll here. That gives them enough trolls that they can actually score a wyvern in the swamp, which is kind of cool. The other alternative, of course, is like before. Hey, let's go for Rangers. Rangers are better overall. This is looking like a short game. Problem is there's good distance here. It's going to be hard for me to catch his Titan. This stack would have made a good combat stack, but I just don't think I can bring it into play yet. So now I'm going for the let's expand our production capabilities. Still might have been better off going for the Rangers though, but something in me says, oh no, I must get the good critters no matter what. Interesting positioning on the next turn. Red moved up here to get themselves a Cyclops. Tiny little stack in a dangerous location because there was a green stack here that looked a little bigger. That green stack moved to, only got a 2, so it moved here, got itself a lion, which... you know, something that's getting a lion in here might not have won anyway. Picked up a troll, that's for the Titan there. And the Cyclops here. So still kind of piddling around with the little stuff here. Red keeps going with the Cyclopses. Actually looking at the I must kill him soon. But Behees are good, so let's go for the triples there. Over here, 3 Centaurs got a Guardian. You know, Guardians aren't that great, and I kind of feel guilty here because this guy could have gotten a Wyvern. You can see I got a Wyvern with 1 stack. That could have gotten... Basically, I had 2 guys sitting next to the tower. One is the only roll that gets you into the tower. You have to be sitting next to it normally. Unless you get the Titan, that teleportation. That could have been a Warlock. But instead I went with the Guardian, which is definitely lesser, but it's because of the ability to have more flexible movement, which I see as more important at this point than maybe critters. Like if I have a Wyvern here, well, it's getting a long ways before I get to another swamp. Whereas the one here, on a 6, I can whip right around. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all following those triple arrows if you look at them. And get another one, which is... Those are cool locations to be in. Sadly, I think Red's gotten themselves kind of behind the 8 ball. I had to pull their Titan stack out. It was sitting here. Had it moved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it would be where this stack is. It wouldn't have to move, but instead I whipped it around to get it into more protected area. The Titan is an extra combatant and a useful one, but the problem is these stacks are beginning to look kind of scary. My main fighting capability appears to be jungle junk. That's great. This here, maybe some possibility for long term. I had a Minotaur take a Minotaur or whatever. Over here, Troll took a Troll. This is a neat stack because if green hits it, they may well... I had to leave that out. If green hits it, they may well get badly mauled by it. But it's tempting to hit things, especially when there's nothing close that can attack you. This is the closest attack-capable stack, and you can see that's a pretty decent stack, and I got something like a Guardian in it that I'm willing to sacrifice a Guardian to win a battle, with no question at all. They're hard to get, but I don't really view them as a mustering value. They're kind of like Rangers to me in terms of I'm willing to throw them into battle. Warlocks I'm a little bit more hesitant about because they're so much more useful in general in battle. And green couldn't resist this attack. They're pushing in from the tower. If you move this, it's like this. It means the attacker's coming in from this direction up here. He's got a decent stack. He doesn't have his Titan. A decent amount of marsh crap, though. The problem was I either had to split that stack and hope maybe I can get a Wyvern, or run in and fight. I can do the fight here. And the defender has the same kind of crap, really. Not as good. Does he want to fight or does he want to run? That's a good question. If he fights, it's 32 and 36, 68 points. Running, that would only be 30-something points, still enough to call an Angel. Still enough to give the boost of the points, and it may weaken this green stack significantly, which is what we really want. What do these bogs mean? They mean if you're not native and not flying, you can't enter it. And I think, yeah, flying critters can't land in it. So the Guardian couldn't ever plop down into one. The Guardian's the only thing that's not native, though, so this is pretty close to a plains situation. Let's see how this starts to develop. The defender, if he holds this, it's this guy, well, all his critters can produce. So whatever he has living, he can bring something in. If he has both trolls, he can get a ranger, and that would probably cause some serious problems to green. When you have really, really slow critters, it's kind of an advantage for the defender. The attacker is nowhere near yet. Now, he can bring some into play. He can make some engagement, but he can't bring the whole army into contact if the defender chooses to just sit there. I've got to kind of think, is this the defensive position I want? I'm kind of considering this instead. Which means, yes, these all get engaged, but these trolls are more protected, and there's nothing that can run around the end easily there. And as we push into the defender's third turn, one more turn and he gets something. Got kind of bloody. He lost 2 units. The attacker lost 1. That means on the attacker's next move, because he killed something, he can call his angel in. Probably wants to do that just because this is not going to be a trivial fight. Defender has to think what he wants to do with these trolls, if he wants to throw them into the battle. One of them here wouldn't be too painful, but anywhere else is kind of risky, and in fact even this one might not be worth it. He might be better off just doing a shock here, hoping that he outrolls, keeps his guy alive, and then maybe is able to get something defensive, because if he gets a ranger, he can bring it in no matter what's going on here. One of the dangers here is he's got to have space to bring something in. So let's say he loses a troll. Then he can only bring a troll or an ogre in, which would have to walk onto the board, whereas a ranger can fly onto the board and has a lot more mobility. The problem? Well, if these are alive, a ranger can come in. If one of them dies, then I can bring something else in. So I think this is the safest position, because I'm holding these back areas where I would need to enter, and we'll be able to bring in a defensive ranger. Well, we're moving up, and the bloodletting continues. We see the ogre and the troll that we're defending here knocked out, but some decent damage on some of the attacking units. The Guardian did a humongous amount of damage to this. we actually had these guys not be able to swing at all because this and then this wiped these guys out, and so I didn't get additional attacks. You can also see I got one hell of a hit on this troll. Oh fuck, I forgot to call my angel. Oh well. You know what? I'm not sure I wanted it. Not sure I should. I wouldn't allow. You wouldn't have that be fixed. I mean, that's a really painful blow to screw that up. But I've seen a lot of games where that decision is really key. The thing is, if you're playing against a newer player, you would remind them, or even if you think they're not remembering. So that's kind of the thing. Hey, do you want to bring your angel in? Playing against experts, usually they don't want to help you out that way. I don't know which. I would rather not make the mistake. I would rather be faced with the decision, because you can make the mistake even when you know what you're thinking about here very easily. Like here, I think it would have been a mistake to bring it in, to tell you the truth. I'm not sure where it is, but obviously I didn't need it. Oh, I don't know if that's so obvious, because now the defender gets his troll. And I can't move this troll, but I can move this one. And I can walk right by that guardian. Now granted, I'm putting myself in a hellish position here, but I'm trying to wipe out a couple of enemy trolls. And that's what's left. It looks pretty weak for the attacker, but it's not that bad. If I hadn't gotten lucky, I might have lost this, having forgotten the angel. Instead, I get more points, though, because he got his reinforcements. 32 and 24 is 56. And this is another reason I wouldn't want the angel. I'm getting another angel here. My Titan goes up to an 8. I get an angel. And I also get a muster here. It's in the marsh. No reason to take an ogre, I think. I'm going to grab another Trolloc, because I want to get to Rangers pretty quickly. And that goes rather well for green making that attack. I also picked up a lion here. And I got some pieces to get rid of. I intimated that red is in trouble here. The reason isn't so much anything to do with the board positions or the musters or anything like that, but more to do with the fact that green is getting to the point where they're beginning to recover from the damage that they dealt. They didn't get a lot of musters here. They only got a ranger, but then again, red didn't get a lot either. They picked up a Behe. People always kind of wonder at some of the stacks I have how I end up with them. This is sort of my general way of doing things. So I had like gargoyles and ogres together, and they created cyclopses and minotaurs. And now very soon we're going to split the minotaurs off with the Behe. The cyclopses are quite able to muster all kinds of places. The Behe, however, and the minotaurs are both rarer creatures that I try to get a powerful stack that can hit good musters in a couple of places. So, you know, you'll end up seeing things like a dragon and a serpent in my stack, or a few of them, and maybe not a lot of supporting stuff to indicate where the hell they came from. And most people kind of look at me funny as though, wow, how did you get away with that? You know, and why? It must have been a lot of work. Actually, what it does is it allows me to do two things. One, get cool stacks that make people go, wow, which, I don't know, somehow, I mean, even playing alone, I kind of go, wow, I mean, I should do that. But it also gets some high-end critters that aren't the attrition critters in stacks that have some reasonable chance of mustering. Otherwise, what you end up having is a stack with, you know, maybe a Behe, a serpent, or a couple Behes, a serpent, and maybe a cyclops or two to fill it out or something. You know, you just end up with these kind of one-dimensional stacks, and they really end up then flooding themselves with Gorgons, with the mid-end stuff that's that you want, but I think you want to divide into attrition stacks and build-up stacks. Power stacks that you want to deliver sort of that killing blow with, because they're a little more powerful once they get built up than, say, the all-ranger stack. The problem with them is you can fire off more and more and more all-ranger stacks until all the rangers are gone, and that works pretty damn well, and that's probably what green should be doing here, and they're kind of aiming that way, actually. Going for cheaper stuff's working better for green. The reds are collecting up. You know, most games I like blue. This game I always play red because of things like this double Imperial Eagle. I guess mainly that. There's a couple others that feel more, I don't know, suitable to me. A lot of people love the black counters in this with like very evil looking things. The die of spikes. Anyway, red's not getting a lot of production. Some jungle junk type stuff there, but green's going for kind of what I consider a solid middling level type stuff, not necessarily bowing completely to the ranger and or Gorgon, although they don't seem to have anything in the way of jungles going on, which is a real weakness, because that stuff is easy to produce. Maybe easier than rangers, but they seem to have lost most of their pieces of that type. They can always get another one by walking into a tower, but there's usually something cooler to get when you go into a tower. You don't feel like, I'm cut off one entire development tree, I really need to repair that. But that could end up being the issue. Which is sort of the way that these final few counters might end up getting eaten up, is somebody does get cut off from the development tree. The other way they end up getting eaten up is if the mid-level creatures go away and are completely wiped out. That will be a really long game if that happens. Red again got some good musters. A couple of behemoths. They're like war bears, only a little bigger. And better because they live in the brush, and the brush is a very powerful terrain type. The brush jungle, they live in the jungle, but green actually shot one unit up here in the tundra to help put some pressure down here on the red units. They're pushing here, not taking musters, just trying to put pressure, trying to break up red, make his decisions harder, push him into a corner where I can block him off. Over here, a griffin, which is a cool critter. Now, I split this stack. The stack that got the griffin is here. The other stack attacked here. We're going to see red's being attacked in the plains there. What he faces. And it doesn't matter what direction, so I'm going to just hit this here. Now, that's not good stuff to have in the plains, but on the other hand, let's see what he's facing. He's definitely facing something bigger. Not a lot bigger. Well, I don't know. But there's the potential of an angel coming in. The very likely potential of an angel. Because I actually want to get the angel out of where it is. So do I want to flee to deny that? And how many points are we talking? 18 and 24... is 42. It's not gonna. It'll be 21 points. See, I could probably wipe this stack out as a productive entity. That's the problem, and I think that seems of value. So, we'll fight it out. The defender, can't just wait it out. That doesn't actually work. The attacker will eventually get him hit in. So I wanted to get a first strike, and then the real question is, what can I get an advantage on? The only thing I could was getting a range strike. I ended up doing nothing, and now the attacker gets to counter. And really, this looks as good as just about anything. Just charge right in there like that. Both sides took a loss. A Gorgon versus a Centaur. That's not really a fair trade. This thing is just a monster. I can't move. I'm frozen. the attacker hopefully will remember to bring his angel in. That did basically nothing against the attacker. He lost a centaur. He could immediately take that back over here. He gets himself some points. Let's see, how many? 18 and 24 is 42. That was not a good attack. Or not a good... I should have fled instead of fighting that out. Now the question is, what kind of reinforcement do I want? I'm near the woods. I'm going to take me another centaur. I could get war bears. I'm not really close to combat here. Something in me just asks for cool stuff whenever I can get it. And I guess we'll roll some more dice for movement. We'll do a couple more rounds of movement before we load. Alright, the position is getting tighter here. Another Behe. Red split a stack. It was a 7 stack. I think this is now 2. But this could be a big plug to prevent the toilet rim from being used by... well, really it's kind of alternating there because we got another combat unit here, which could slip out. Then we got another wyvern over here. So, looks like things are going to start getting messy again real soon. Just with this close proximity, you start getting into this position where one piece is protecting another in a very chess-like sort of way, but there's this die roll involved. So you may not actually be able to protect. So for example, let's take a look. This guy, if he hit this, this guy's protecting against it. Now this guy's too weak to hit anything, so it's not really a fair assessment. But this guy could hit this. There's not much protecting against it. This and this. This could 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on a big roll could actually make it and hit whatever strikes this. And I know that gem is tasty because it just picked up a wyvern. So red got kind of a lousy roll so that they couldn't go squash that. They went off hunting this stack. With a little luck, they might land here, get another Gorgon, and have a lot of power. Green's in a kind of tricky position now. He picked up some nice musters and a ranger here that, you know, will help put the pressure on the red piece that's putting the pressure on the green piece, but this could swing up and attack that. The problem is, do I want to slam into here? I don't have my angel there, which means I can call it in. I outnumber by 1. I have a so-so stack. Trolls, which aren't very impressive. Ogre, that thing. The only thing I have that's any good in it is the ranger. I don't think I want to. I think I actually might want to get out of there. Up here gives me more choice, not as many choices as the tower though. But it does put me in a position where I can start swinging around that way. Maybe get a lucky hit on something. I think I'll just stay where I am. The problem is I don't think I can beat things in the jungle. The jungle's pretty nasty terrain when you're not native, and I don't have good stuff. I don't even have fast stuff. So your enemy can kind of play for time to get a reinforcement, and that's a big stack there. That was a weird split. Only 2 pieces left it. I know they've been getting some good stuff. I don't know if the good stuff is in here or in here. Alright. One more. Red, they shift a lot of the forces that this is protecting out of the way. This guy crept up and grabbed himself a line. This guy's going to stay there. He figures, hey, I blockaded it once. But the question here is with a 4 die roll. Do I go here? Now this is a 1, 2, 3, 4. 6. It's a 7 stack, yeah. So I come up and I fight. And that's going to be in the marsh. Let's get this out. the marsh with the attacker coming from this side. Lots of stuff that doesn't belong in the marsh, but it's not. Oh, I forgot to put these things in their dead piles. Shit. And then the defender has marsh stuff. Well, at least rangers. And a titan. Could all be over here. Because that's a pretty decent stack to fight with. It's definitely a mistake to be sitting out there. Hey! Could get it done tonight. Alright, and I can call an angel. Well, the wyvern is pretty much useless. I don't consider him my valuable piece. Everything flies. So we'll go in this little corner here. We'll protect him like this. I actually kind of want to leave the wyvern to the front. The reason for that is because I don't mind losing the wyvern. I gotta win this fight. The wyvern's a key and an important piece, but everything else can go. Now, what is coming in against us? Bunch of big stuff. I want to get my range strikes in before the enemy does. I can't walk into this. Actually, instead of that there, look at the Behe there, this here. And the Warlock, can he strike from this range? Keep this Cyclops in the back because 1, 2, 3, 4, I can strike from there. So this is going to be a range striking battle to begin with. We'll see if the defender is forced into a fight. I mean, the defender outrange strikes the attacker, so eventually the attacker is going to push forward. He's just having trouble, getting any distance in this battlefield. And that range striking looked like it was going pretty well coming from these two, but then this guy just crapped out with his 3 dice. Now it is the defender's move. Now, if he can wait it out, he gets another ranger. Range striking is to his advantage. He's going to put the wyvern in the back, not because he doesn't want the wyvern exposed, but because the wyvern has no range strike, and he wants to plug up this so that some Gorgon doesn't come flying over and start schwacking at the Titan. Still can't call his angel. He hasn't killed anything yet. Here's the problem. The way I put my Warlock, now my Cyclops can't just come marching up boink boink. I'm going to have to do this. Move the Warlock here. I'd like to just range strike with my Gorgons maybe, but that may not work. That spot is where both Cyclopses want to be. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. What I'm going to do is try to hit with as much as I can. We'll roll some dice, see how that goes. But now we're engaged and we're starting to fight. Defender's 3rd round and things are looking really ugly here. He's down to one thing that can get a reinforcement, and it's engaged with the Cyclops. Now, got range strikes coming here. Something could throw in and try to kill that and try to get it out of the way real quick. The Gorgon, I guess, or the Behe. Doesn't really much matter. So, 1, 2, 3, and it could throw in there too. The question is, what am I trying to protect here? What am I trying to kill? There's going to be an angel coming in. This Titan's potent. He's strength 8 right now. So he's not a weak normal Titan. He's stronger than the Angel. I think I'm just going to play like this and try to crack this, but I don't think that Ranger has a chance of surviving until I get another turn is the problem. What if I don't do this? Is there an attack that makes sense? See, the Titan is not native to this crap. So he's got to pretty much, he's only able to move in these areas here right now. Could he move up and attack? Sure, but he's the target. He's the goal. I really don't want to allow 2 units to have an attack on him. I think this is still my best move, but we'll see. Cyclops got very lucky. He got 3 hits on that Ranger. So that's even better than I expected. And this doesn't move forward, but I got to look for my Angel. There he is. And this should be the game, basically. Oh, no, it's not the green Angel I'm looking for. Red's the attacker here. I don't know where the red Angel is. Yeah, he's with the Titan. Okay. Yeah, that should pretty much do it. Let's see what we've got for attacks. We want to throw a weight in. Debating whether to throw a Gorgon in or the Cyclops. How about the dead Cyclops? Yeah, he's almost dead. Put the Gorgons over here. I want to get the Warlock close. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the Titan because he can shoot the Titan. So I'm going to slip like this. Actually, I don't have to do that. 2, 3, 4. The Warlock can go from here. Yeah, that's all good. All right, so we're going to have a lot of attacks here. The Cyclops and the Cyclops going after the Wyvern, but everything else is going to be shooting at the Titan, not the Gorgons. They're blocked through line of sight, and I think they're also too far away, and all kind of other things. But that's okay. Uh-oh, got to bring my Angel on. And he's a powerful force. Let's put him here. He's going to fill in one of those spaces. It's pretty much over here, which is very cool. We have 4 hits on the Titan, 4 hits on the Wyvern. We go into the 4th turn, and there's 4... No. No reinforcements coming. All the Rangers are dead. At least I got the Behe here. But now the Defender is locked in combat. He's got this dumbass Cyclops still on his ass. I was hoping to kill the Behe and the Cyclops. Then I would be free to move at least the Titan and maybe try to do something, or at least he'd be protected a little bit for a round. As it is, he's going to be taking swings from this stupid Cyclops. It only hits on a 6, but still, it's going to do a hit or 2 probably. The attacker's pretty much home free, right? In. I don't even have to get that close. Fly the Angel in. That should probably take the Titan out at this point. We see the Wyvern bit it this time, as did a Cyclops. The Titan's dead, and that's the end. It was definitely a mistake for Green to be here. That was a big stack. It was a threat. He shouldn't have jumped down there. Often this is a game of mistakes, though, like a lot of games. And I gotta say I'm a little thankful because I wouldn't have really wanted to play out what this was beginning to look like it was going to be. Which was both sides, red would get all their stacks out. Green would get all their green stacks out, and some number of these, probably like 4 or 5 of them, start cluttering up the board, and then it becomes this kind of horrible attritional battle where eventually the piles are just decremented enough green's ability to produce more rapidly because they have more stacks all over the board, but that becomes a real headache. When you have like more than a dozen stacks of your own, you can't even attack them and blast them out of the way. All you can do, you're just constantly counting patterns, and it's just such a headache to deal with that I really hate when the game gets to that point. I kind of just want to give it up at that moment. Anyway, this was actually pretty fun. I find it most enjoyable when I go ape shit and just berserk on someone. Either Usually what ends up happening with it is I get some decent points and I get weakened with my initial attack, and then either end up as like this stripped down force that has to straggle through the game or wiped out by someone else. But regardless of whether it's a good strategy or not, I've seen other people handle it pretty well. I've actually gotten away pretty well with it. It makes the game more fun, is I guess the biggest thing. Playing a more cautious game, well, usually the guy who wins battles is the guy who wins. It's just how quickly you want those battles to happen. And I like slamming them out real early, trying to clear the board. If you can get somebody out of your kind of area of the board so that you have a few turns to muster, you can quite often survive that first hit that you make. And now you've got a bonus in points, you've got an extra set of counter mix, and things go kind of well for you. Of course, if you wipe each other out on the first battle, well, then you can play something else. And you cleared this up and didn't make it a really annoying, long game. And Titan can be a long game. All right. I'll load this one up.